Well, that would be the wrong open. Tony Bennett just passed away a few days ago, and we're back this time live to eulogize a man who brought Chicago a Stanley Cup after 49 years of not winning one. Rocky Wirtz is dead at the age of 79. I'm here to help Mike North eulogize the man. Mike, how are you, my friend?
Aldo, unexpected, first of all. And he left his heart right here in Chicago, Chicago-born guy, North Shore Country Day kid out there in Wilmette, Northwestern University. I knew Rocky well. And when the Blackhawks had the resurgence, I was honored by Rocky and John McDonough to come back and help kick off the new regime. Drop the puck. There's me and BB. Went out there, had fun. Kachuk is the Blues guy, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Kane. Yeah, and his son plays now, and he's terrific. That's how long ago that was.
Mm-hmm.
So Rocky was great. I also worked for Rocky at Comcast, NBC Chicago, when we had the Monsters in the morning. So I knew his dad. His dad, they had me host the town hall. So I was rough on the Hawks for a lot of things, but I was also, they also knew that, hey, you know what? And I was willing because I was a Hawk fan. I'll help you out any way you can. I remember I did the town hall. They had Orville Tessier was there, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
That GM, I forget his name. It was Smith or something.
Mike Smith, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes, great, good call. He was there, and I looked up when I was doing the town hall at the stadium, and there was William Wirtz looking down. I'm going, wow, you know. And he was a Patriot, William Wirtz. Arthur Wirtz bought the team back in he gained control in '66, and then William took it over in '70. They bought the stake into the Hawks in 1950. Rocky took it over. How about this, Aldo? Huh?
Nice. That memory still works.
Yeah, sure. I can't find my keys, but that's okay. But Rocky took it over in 2007. Everybody thought Peter was going to take him over. I knew Peter very well. Cool thing about Peter, I'll never forget, he had a Mercedes-Benz station wagon. I go, now that's something. And I thought Rocky, or nobody thought Rocky was going to take over. And when he did, him and McDonough made magic until the tragic situation with the off-the-ice problems. And, you know, he was a pioneer in the beverage business. He expanded the Wirtz fortunes with that. It took over from his he's one of those sons that made things better.
Yes, he did. There's no doubt about it.
For the family businesses, and he won all those cups. So it's a sad day for Chicago. Lost an icon, really, when you think about it. Like I said, he took his shot, his share of hits, and some were deserved, but he also got a lot of plaudits too.
Yes. I remember there was a long period of time where the Chicago Blackhawks lost their rabid fan base. And this was towards the latter years of William Wirtz's leadership of the team. He did not put them on local television. He would not really try to appeal to fans, and superstars from yesteryear were never reached. They never showed up at the stadium. And then when he passed away, Rocky Wirtz hired John McDonough and people that you mentioned and really revitalized that franchise there. It was business executives have studied what the Chicago Blackhawks did to reinvigorate their franchise, because that was a model of how it should have been. And Rocky Wirtz led that. So kudos to him.
And then when they got rid of Quenneville, Rocky was in the corner on the stage, and he never looked smaller. Okay, he looked so big when they were bringing the cups, bigger than life, but he looked small, sunken in his chair. I said before we went on the air, and I'm not kidding, when you have all these businesses, real estate, banks, expanded to Canada, I mean the conglomeration. He owns most of Lakeshore Drive, the Wirtz family. You have all that, Okay, if you're not getting a regular checkup, and maybe you are, I don't know. He died of a sudden heart attack.
Oh,
Okay.
I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yes. Well, Aldo, I've always often told you when it comes to digging for journalistic things,
You're the man.
oh yeah, I am the guy that turns it. No, no, it says sudden heart attack. So,
Wow.
that's why everybody's in a little bit of a state of shock. And somebody just put up that 70 is young. You're damn right it is. I'm 70.
That's right.
I mean, my God,
Yeah.
So I know that, time is running out. I mean,
Mhm.
when you get to be 70 years old,
Mhm.
you're on the short end of the stick. Let's face
Yeah.
it.
A lot
And it was,
closer to the end than the beginning, right?
yeah. You don't have to expand on it. Okay.
I'm right behind you, brother.
Put myself in my own headlock, for God's sake. And we got some information here, and this is I'm tearing up a little bit. The franchise is getting better. This is a live one we're doing tonight. We usually tape these, but now Aldo and I got this thing in a rhythm. The guy's a genius. I just hang out and I just try to fit in the bones here if I can. And I was looking at Wikipedia, and well, first of all, I was watching I turned on the NHL channel.
Okay.
And they were showing, isn't it something? The 92 Blackhawk Penguin game. It's on now.
Oh, my
If you
goodness.
turn on the hockey channel, 215 on DirecTV, Ronick, Amante. This was game 4. Unfortunately, they got swept by the Penguins.
Yeah.
It was a tough loss for everybody. But I'll tell you this, it was fun to see. And they just had it on the crawl. I would think the National Hockey, I know probably they have a news show later on, but that's something I would break in with.
Yeah, I would think so, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Original
if it's
owner. I mean, not the it's family owned for a long time.
exactly.
Which I sort of think is cool still, not the corporations, if you will. But 70 years old, died in 1952. Ironically, today's Walter Payton's birthday.
Yeah.
He would have been 70. So I'm surrounded by guys that are gone that would have been 70. So, well, thank you, Renewable Rechargeable Review. Get my guy over there.
The Triple R, we call him Triple
Rechargeable
R.
looks like he means business.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around.
No, so
yeah, and I'm sorry to
go ahead,
interrupt,
Hanson, go ahead.
Let me interrupt. For me personally, it was
you got the Hawk thing on.
Yeah, I mean, when my girls were of age that they wanted to go see sporting events, I took them to a Bears game, didn't like it. Took them to a Bulls game, didn't like them. Took them to both the Cubs and White Sox, didn't like them. Took them to a Blackhawks game, and they loved it. And they were like, we want to go more. And fortunately, that was the 2010 season where they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. And so the Blackhawks under Rocky Wirtz provided so many precious memories for me and my family. And it's so deserving. Here he is hoisting all 3 cups from the 3 Stanley Cups of the 2010s. Just a remarkable thing that he did with this franchise, and how he impacted the lives of so many people is remarkable. And here's a statement from Danny Wirtz, his son, who has now taken over the team. He writes here, our hearts are very heavy today. Our dad was a passionate businessman, committed to making Chicago a great place to live, work, and visit, but his true love was for his family and close friends. He was a loving father, a devoted husband to Marilyn, a brother, a nephew, an uncle, and a doting grandfather to his 6 remarkable grandchildren. His passing leaves a huge hole in the hearts of many, and we will miss him terribly.
Yeah. And Marilyn, I know Marilyn. I met Marilyn and their daughter. He was married previously. And just the Wirtz family's an iconic name in Chicago. And it's an iconic name in the annals of the National Hockey League. But his grandfather, Arthur Wirtz, also introduced the ice shows. I mean, the history of the Wirtz family. Yeah. Sonia Henney. I mean, they popularized the ice shows. That stadium was used. Jim Norris was his partner, and also owned the Blackhawks. Jim Norris was the guy who brought the big fights to Chicago, whether it be Floyd Patterson, LaMotta, Ali, Ernie Terrell, Rocky Mar, had fights at the so a
Chicago
great
Stadium.
legacy, a
Hmm.
great legacy for this guy Aldo, and
Yeah,
you know,
and he had a
three
business
Stanley
empire.
Cups.
Yeah, and he had a huge business empire. The Wirtz
Well,
Corporation is involved in commercial and real estate companies, wine and spirits distributor called the Breakthrough Beverage Company, an insurance company, banks in Illinois and Florida, half owner of the Blackhawks home arena, the United Center, along with Jerry Reinsdorf. These guys, they ran a huge business empire, and they ran it for great profit. They developed certain schemes also. Schemes, I guess is the appropriate way to, funnel money to the beverage company and not report stuff to the NHL so that they could claim they were poor and stuff.
nice?
Yeah, pretty smart. But the biggest issue, unfortunately, for Rocky Wirtz was how he dealt with the Cow Beach situation. A player who, in that first Stanley Cup season, alleged, and this was proven correct, that he was sexually molested by an assistant trainer on the team. And a few months later, after things were seemingly resolved, he was approached by Mark Lazarus of the Athletic, and Rocky didn't take too kindly to the question that was posed.
I think the report speaks for itself. The people that were involved are no longer here, and we're not going to talk about what happened. We're moving forward. That is my answer. Now, what's your next question?
I can pick up to what we are doing today. And I think
No, I don't know. That's none of your business. That's none of your business. What we're going to do today is our business. I don't think it's any of your business. Because I don't think it's any of your business. You don't work for the company. If someone in the company asks that question, we'll answer it.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Terrible. It was a terrible day for him.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible day. Don't tell me the stress didn't help maybe contribute to this at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The stress of a terrible situation, the way that the National Hockey League handled it, Gary Bettman saying we're going to do an internal investigation. I mean, if you want to ask me what's the difference between the way that the National Hockey League handled this and the way the Catholic Church handled their situation, there is none. It's handled the same way. Internally, the Blackhawks should have never been allowed to police themselves. People have left the scene that were here. Staples for a while, don't need to name names. People that were popular here, all of a sudden they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
You never really have a resolution. It was very hush-hush.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that were in the media that I don't know if they knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But it's hard for me to believe they didn't if they were there at that time.
Yeah.
And they were here for another 13, 14, 15 years. I've been around the block more than one time.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm around something for a long time, doesn't mean you have to say anything. But if you're a journalist,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nowadays we got the college kids breaking stories because the pros ain't doing it.
The pro journalist, you're right.
Like the Northwestern situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very hard on him. The Wirtzes are proud people that I know. I never told you. I ran into his daddy. We were 10 feet from each other right before that town hall. And he looked at me like, wow, an intimidating presence. Rocky, now Danny's going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
Rocky brought it in. Danny had his ideas. Rocky was thrown out of meetings because he wanted the Hawks on TV. He wanted the brand to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So his dad threw him out of meetings. And I heard the thing with Danny. You just heard they were sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of guy you think Rocky was in meetings when things went bad? That was a horrible day for him, a bad day for him. And you know what? He went quiet after that for the most part. You didn't see a lot of him.
That is correct. And I also blame, the Blackhawks communications team there. They should have, prepared them. You're going to get asked that question by the media. And so here to tell them we're doing three things, 1, 2, and 3, and then move on to the next subject. But for you to say it's none of your business,
wow.
The media is in many
a public
cases,
entity. Your team
exactly.
says Chicago on it.
Exactly. And the fans want to know, hey, I don't want to take my kids to an organization like that.
That's when he lost the cuddly teddy bear owner type of thing. He was held in high esteem by everybody. And nobody's going to tell me there ain't a tarnish or fingerprint that's a bad one on this. But
Yes.
Also, the man was a remarkable businessman. Wasn't, I have this term, the lucky sperm club. No doubt. He was born into it. And I do this for a lot, but what I respect about kids of parents that are well-to-do
Mhm.
is when they take the empire and make it bigger
Mm.
and make it better. And I had a lot of respect for what Rocky did. Things got bad at the end, but he won 3 cups too, man. I didn't like the way Dale Talon was let go. I know that Quenneville, that whole thing was murky.
Mhm.
McDonough is gone now,
Mhm.
so things changed. I think the Blackhawks now headed in the right direction. Uh, but it's too bad that that's with this whole thing and the timing of this whole surprise, a sudden heart attack type of situation. So
Yeah. I'll
rest
tell
in
you.
peace.
I'll
Rest
tell
in
you.
peace to Rocky.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something that never changes is the great service provided over at Cumberland
Oh,
Chapels. I mean, they personalize in funeral, memorial, pre-planning, aftercare, cremation services, whatever you need. Our friends at Cumberland Chapels are there to help you through these tough times. Their website, cumberlandchapels.com, is where you should go to get all your information. Keep them in mind once you have to, deal with this, right, Mike?
oh yeah, definitely. And then, also when you think about Cumberland Chapels, just think of A1, top shelf. That's it. And
Mhm.
then you got Tony Antonacci and Tino Antonacci at the great Pennyville Station restaurant. In my old digs where I used to hang out, used to lived there for 22 years, great town of Park Ridge, Illinois, right across from the train station. Get off at the train station in downtown Park Ridge, cross the street, you're right there. Go ask for Tony Antonacci. Say, hey, man, you know what? I'm a big fan of somebody big just died. And then, they'll give you something off on your check. I haven't
Great.
cleared it with anybody yet, but we'll see what happens. But we appreciate both sponsors, especially on our first live show. We're growing as a franchise, and we're just catching some rhythm. And this was our first surprise one.
Yeah.
Most of them, Robert Blake and Tina Turner and Harry Belafonte, and you know, this one here was our first surprise one. So that's
Yeah, it seems when something happens to someone in the Chicago area who is such an influential figure, it really hurts in a special way,
yeah,
in a different way. Of course, when some of our favorites like Tony Bennett and Harry
yeah,
Belafonte pass away,
the
that
Chicago guy.
hurts too. Yeah, exactly. That hurts too. But when Rocky Wirtz, wow, and what he did for creating memories for families and kids and stuff, it's tough. It's tough.
Yep. And Hawks always involved back in the day with Father Smith and everybody at the Chuck Wagon over there at Maryville Academy. So to his widow and to Marilyn and to the kids and to everybody, Peter and Danny from Mike North, who has covered your Blackhawks and went to Blackhawk games since I was a kid. God bless you guys.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you the next time on Somebody Big Just Dies. Bye-bye.